Welcome to Vintage Coin Op Restorations and Williams 1956 crane. Not to be confused with Sidewalk Engineer, which is a very similar game, but instead of a crane, it's actually a bulldozer pushing cork in a large cabinet. This machine came to us in its original condition, though it was said to be working, but I'm not sure how correctly it was working, let's put it that way. Needless to say, here over on the table, if you're watching this video, you've seen it already installed in the machine, but this is all the stuff we took out of it. And basically, because of a very common problem with this particular machine, if you come across them, you'll always find some sort of, well, I shouldn't say always, but the majority of the time you'll see this burn mark. And it's because that coil gets so hot, it gets stuck over time and it just cooks. When we first got this machine, we had the impression, because not only is that a problem, the dump coil also is a problem. It gets stuck and it just holds and eventually fries this piece. The majority of the time, it's the dump coil that we are replacing, and that's what we thought we were doing, which is fairly simple. Hard to find the coil, but we have a resource for that. And when we opened it up, we realized it wasn't this coil, and we realized it was this. The original coil that belongs to this machine is no longer available, nor does anybody actually remanufacture or redo that coil. So we had to get a little creative, and with the help of Steve Young over at Pinball Resource, he was able to help me with this this bank here so that we can get this machine up and running correctly. And because of this being out, somebody put all the bell, a pinball coil, a timer, all of it in these holes here that you see. And what they were doing was they were bypassing this piece here and trying to get the same effect. Whether it worked or not, I'm not sure, because when we plugged it in, I couldn't get it to work anyways. So as I was putting it all back together, we just started, let's start from scratch and get it to work the way it was supposed to. And that's exactly what we did. There were numerous cold solder joints or piece of wires that just, especially like this one, as you take it in and take it out, you open the door, the wires get bent all the time, and eventually I think we had one or two of these that were broken. Another piece that we always seem to overlook, that is typically we go in and you look at a machine, but I always like to replace the fuse holders. Fuse holders, they all look like they're making good contact in the machine, but majority of the time, just by transportation or just moving your hand inside there, the contacts are not that strong. So we replace those all the time. Once we did all that detailed, we made sure these wheels move the way they're supposed to be. Then it was a matter of getting it to work correctly with the coin. So once I figured out this whole rear end, we had to come around the back in the front of the machine and find out why it wasn't working also. And I gotta come around and grab the keys. When you insert your 10 cents, what happens is it starts up a coil, and it's that startup coil, which you see right here. It's gonna pull that in. And when that pulls that in, it also starts the timer and puts a hold on this coil over here to release any of the beans that were in the machine prior to you putting your coins in. The last person might have had, got a couple buckets worth, and they're still in here until you reset the game, where you'll see the coil hold, drop the beans, they'll slide back into the machine, and then you get your chance to fill up the beans. So when we came around, we coined it up and it didn't work. Part of the problem with that was right over here, there was a there was a meter, and that meter is for how many, it's a gameplay meter. And I wish I could have told you how many games there were, but there were quite a bit. And that coil was cooked and shorted out, but that coil needed to be, as you know, a coil is continuous. So you needed a conductivity through that to make the door work and the coin mechanism work. So we bypassed the wires, connected them together in the back corner. Oh yeah, I'll show you right here, right over here. These got soldered together. Now the circuit can go through and through the wires, through here. Again, we had some solder joints to fix, and to this front door, which is all 110. So we should keep these down just in case you brush up against it, because it will remind you that it is 110, and you'll definitely feel it. Besides that, we also had some of the light fixture in here had to be redone, and the motors on both motors seem to be working, but only one, and you had limit switches. So again, we took those all apart and resoldered them, and now we pretty much have it good to go. You come across this machine many times without the crane inside here. The crane is also a very highly sought after crane for toy collectors, and it's been modified. Williams didn't make this crane. This was a very famous toy at the time in the 50s. And the ones that do survive are in these boxes. And that's why a toy collector looking for this crane comes across and says, oh my God, it's probably one of the nicest looking cranes, because typically it would be in some kid's toy box and it would never look like this. Another thing different than the original would be that they added this magnet detail inside your crane, in the bucket, let's put it that way. And it is, you usually see it busted, broken, but here it is all original. Though I think someone put some, looks like some solder around the top to add a little more weight for it to kind of drop down and pick up the beans, pick up more beans, because this, when you play the game, this thing pushes down, drops down, and then you pull it up. And part of that whole system of pulling up is because of this little pin there. So when you have it in this position, it will fall down in here, and when you pull up, it will pull up that center bar and close the bucket. So it's a pretty cool idea that someone thought of. The object of the game is to maneuver and go left to right, drop down, pick up, and put the beans in the hopper. And what your goal is to be an expert crane operator. Obviously, right now we have the light quitting time on, and at this point, I believe we have it at 20 tons. You would have to get get a expert operator. Is it possible? At 20 tons, it is. Some of them you can adjust it to 30. 30 is pretty tough, but between 20, it gives the average person a pretty good chance of you gotta kind of hit it hard and work it, and you should be able to do it. So you can see as I pull down on the bucket here, this is what operates the expert light, and it's a micro switch. And in the front, you'll see that it'll turn on somewhere around 20, so about 20 tons. So this is what your object of the game is to get to 20. Obviously, when the game's over, you'll see quitting time. When the game starts, the quitting light comes off and is not illuminated. So what we can do is, so you can kind of see, I guess I can come back. I'll come to the front here. We'll put our money in there and actually activate it correctly. Put our dime inside there. It'll go forward. So right there, you'll see the beans, the coils being pulled. There it goes. It just closed. And now the game has begun. here we have the timing mechanism, which is about a minute. I'm almost positive it's a minute. And it will go around till it falls right back in that little slot where you'll have quitting time. And at the same time, if you're really good and you fill up that bucket fast enough, expert crane operator. And you can keep on going as far as you can. Over here on your left, are your crane direction. And over here is up, down. So when you bring it all the way up to the top, you don't want to go all the way up there, because at this time, if you were bringing beans up, your beans would be right at the top. So you're going to come right around there, and at that point, at that point you got to go up so you can open the crane. So I don't want to do that. Let me see if I can drop the crane and do the whole operation. Okay, so when you dropped it down and went into the beans, the bucket closed, you want to bring it back up, and you stop just shy of your top. You bring it over to the hopper, and now I'm going to go further up to open up the bucket, which I just did. Now the bucket dropped, the beans go back in, and you go back to your left and you start all over again. Well, there you have it. All good and ready to go. If you have a crane for sale or you need one restored, please give us a call. We're located in Chicago, Illinois. Our phone number is area code 630-624-7466. Just a beautiful original, though we did do a little touch up on the black. The black was flaking really bad, so we just wanted to touch that up. Gave the legs another coat of this satin black, just because they get beat up so fast. We wanted to give it a nice new clean look. But what a beautiful original. Got great graphics still on here, also on the top. Another thing that we do with all our machines is we try to change all the light bulbs to LED bulbs. And here, one of the reasons is you see the quitting time and expert crane operator. That particular glass is always cooked because someone decides to put a monster light bulb in there. So here we got some LED light bulbs, and the LED light bulbs do not put out any heat, and that will not destroy those back glasses. And as you can see up on top, you see that we have two LED light bulbs up on top. Typically above those light bulbs, I usually see all burn marks and charred plywood. Again, that's because someone puts a 110 light bulb in there, and over time, you start cooking the plywood. Just a note, if you can, try to use some LED bulbs so you don't start fires in these machines. Well, there you have it. Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe to our channel so you can see all the new machines coming to the warehouse. Thanks for watching.